frame, or an out and down style outrigger, basic principles of operations apply. Knowing the names for the major crane components will help communication on the job site. Here's a quick overview of some significant crane components and operations. The crane base is a fabricated high-strength assembly and is the fastening point to the truck chassis. Hydraulic, extendable outriggers reduce total setup time, ensure ease of use, and provide leveling and balance during operation. Outrigger controls on most models are located independently at each outrigger to provide line-of-sight activation. The hose tracking system maintains hose alignment when extending booms and helps increase the life of the hydraulic hose. The hydraulic swing lock valve serves as a rotational brake to eliminate rotational drift. In the event of hydraulic hose failure, the crane locks in position. Integral mounted holding valves prevent sudden cylinder collapse in the event of hose failure, prevents crane overload, and stops uncontrolled boom drift. Rack and pinion rotation on the model shown features minimum rotation of 400 degrees and provides precise control and positioning. The high-pressure filter system is standard on the model shown. The major components of the crane structure include the outriggers, the crane base, the mast, the inner boom, the outer boom, extension booms and cylinders, the inner boom cylinder, and the outer boom cylinder. The overload shutdown system senses stress on extension, inner and outer booms. It activates a temporary shutdown in overload situations. The overstress system on the model shown provides automatic shutdown at overload. On some models, the system offers diagnostic capabilities and retains performance history. The top seat manual controls and platform are standard on cranes. Newer models, with a variety of horizontal extension options, provide greater reaches. Also feature radio remote control, plus out and down style outriggers. Note that there is a relationship between crane extensions and load carrying capacity. This diagram explains. The further the load extends from the center line of the crane structure, the less weight. Measured in thousands of pounds, the crane is designed to carry. The extension and strength of these cranes should allow you to reach openings several floors high. Let's review the control systems. Cranes from V&H will offer you either top seat control, radio remote control, or both. As you saw in the pre-trip inspection, whenever you climb up to the platform control, always follow the 3-point rule. Make sure you're in firm contact and grip with hands and feet on at least 3 points of the ladder. Never carry items in your hand while climbing a ladder. Once on the platform, unfold the operator's seat. The folded seat is in effect a safety switch. On some models, whenever the seat is folded, the platform controls are disabled. Remember, when you leave the platform, always fold the seat over. Make it a habit for your safety and the safety of others. The crane is powerful, productive, and efficient, but requires skilled handling. Understanding control functions helps you understand how the boom and fork work together. To begin, the engine must be running and PTO engaged. This powers the hydraulic pump. The crane is in idle and ready for commands. First, let's review the platform controls. The model demonstrated here has 2 joysticks for hand controls and pedal control for each foot. Each platform joystick control has multiple operations. A skilled operator can synchronize the controls in what appears to be a multitude of single operations: lifting, turning, rotating, and clamping in graceful moves. Let's look at each platform control and its function. To start up hydraulics, engage the RPM or speed control from idle to working RPM. Engine kill is a critical safety feature. On the model shown, joysticks and pedals control these functions: inner boom up, inner boom down, outer boom up, outer boom down, extension out, extension in, rotate crane clockwise, rotate crane counterclockwise, fork tilt up to close the fork, fork tilt down to open the fork, fork rotation clockwise, fork rotation counterclockwise. These controls may vary depending upon model. Now let's review the radio remote. Radio remote control offers the operator whatever visual angle is needed. The remote gives you the freedom of movement to inspect the progress of a lift from any position. In addition, you have the best view possible for angling the fork under loads for off-lifting. Warning: never get underneath the load or place yourself in danger of being pinned by the load. The remote is strapped to the body to eliminate fatigue. Whenever moving from crane operations to load delivery inside, the remote should be removed to avoid potential for damage. The remote control differs from most platform controls because it has 2 or more joysticks which control all the operations done by the platform group of joystick pedal controls. Radio remote controls may vary by crane model. On the model shown, the key switch boots up the remote. The green button on the side or top activates the remote control. Push twice to activate the radio. Speed control can be set at auto speed, idle, or operating RPM. This is the crane kill switch. The 2 joysticks left and right perform these functions: inner boom up, inner boom down, outer boom up, outer boom down, extension out, extension in, rotate crane clockwise, rotate crane counterclockwise, fork tilt up to close the fork, fork tilt down to open the fork, fork rotation clockwise, fork rotation counterclockwise. Remember to shut the remote off when moving around the job site. You cannot safely keep track of obstacles in the work area and watch the crane at the same time. Shut off the remote. Move to the area you need to work in, where visibility is best, and reactivate. It's a simple turn of the key and pushing the start button. Now let's review unloading procedures. Before you unload, all basic safety and site setup procedures should have been done. The crane should be parked on a flat, stable surface, clear of power lines, with outriggers firmly planted on both sides of the truck, and a safety zone established. For the first lift, the fork must be safely lifted out of its cradle, clearing the cradle structure. Run the extension out to clear the end of the truck and rotate boom to clear boom rest. This is the typical operation for the first load. Tilt fork down. Raise the inner boom. Lower the outer boom. Rotate boom into position of your load. Rotate fork to get into position for the load. The key is to position boom and fork in such a way that the fork tines naturally slip into the load space. Mark the center of gravity for the load. Using the remote, it is somewhat easier to determine the position of the fork. The operator lets the fork naturally find its positioning by letting the nylon rollers run down the side of the load until the tines slip into place. When the fork is set, swing into the load. Lift the load very gently. If product is stacked on either side of your pickup load, you will want to back the load up a little for clearance. This is a sequence of closing the fork, rotating the crane, and lifting. If done right, you should have a well-balanced load. Now you can rotate and position the load in the delivery zone. The rule of this rotation move is swing low and close. In other words, keep the load reasonably close to the ground and reasonably tight to the truck. There is no need to extend loads out further or higher than necessary. Swing low and close. This will keep the load more manageable and makes it a speedier trip to the ground in event of trouble. Even for high lifts, keep the load low until the crane is angled correctly. Once you are near the delivery position, extend the boom until you are at the proper height. Rotate the fork until the load is correctly positioned to enter the delivery zone opening, which is typically a window, a door, through studs, over framing, or to the ground. Now you can carefully extend boom to the delivery zone where the helper waits. At no time should the helper reach out to guide the load or in any way try to maneuver the load. That is the crane's job. Once unloaded, you are ready to get another lift. Here are a few operational and technique reminders and cautions. Know the crane limits. Check the crane's load rating chart. Those limits should never be exceeded. Load should always be balanced and secure. Never rush to complete a lift because the load is improperly balanced or secured on the fork. If there is a problem, stop the lift immediately and get the load to the surface, whether the truck bed or the ground. Lift loads properly. Lower, raise, brake, and swing slowly. Don't change speed suddenly. If a load is moving too fast, it tends to drift, causing instability. Consider wind speed and how it may affect work. Don't drag or push a load. Never position the fork or swing the load over people. Don't walk away from a crane with a suspended load. Never allow anyone to ride on the fork. A crane must be respected and operational safety guidelines followed at all times. This completes the basics of crane operation. Now the truck is offloaded and you're ready to prepare the crane and truck for leaving. Rotate into position beyond the boom rest. Bring the boom extension in. Set the fork back into the cradle. Use the tie-down fork strap. Set the restraining bar in place. Make sure load straps have been rolled in and secured. Next, raise the outriggers and put them back into their original stowed positions. Be sure to pack safety zone equipment, cones, and caution tape. Clean up the area around you. And secure loose items on the truck. Check the grounds for any new obstacles that may have arrived on site before leaving.